The day everything went off script. I thought I was ready for that morning. I was wrong. The courthouse in downtown Columbus, Ohio had that same stale smell it always does. Old paper, floor cleaner, and quiet tension. The kind of place where lives get rearranged by people in robes who don't know your middle name. I sat on a hard wooden bench outside Courtroom 4B, hands clasped so tight my knuckles looked bleached. My lawyer, Frank, flipped through a manila folder like he was reviewing grocery coupons. Not the paperwork that officially ended my marriage. Pretty straightforward, he said, not looking up. No kids. Assets already divided. Should be done in 20 minutes. 20 minutes to erase 7 years. I nodded, pretending I agreed, pretending my chest didn't feel like it was slowly collapsing inward. My ex-wife, Lauren, was late. That wasn't unusual. Lauren was always late. To dinners, vacations, apologies. But then the courtroom doors opened, and everything stopped. She walked in wearing a loose cream-colored dress. Not her usual sharp blazer. Not her, I'm strong and independent heels. Just flats. Simple. Calm. And pregnant. Not subtly. Not, maybe she gained weight. Pregnant. The air left my lungs so fast I actually coughed. Frank finally looked up. What the hell? My brain scrambled for logic, for timelines, for anything that made sense. We'd been separated for 11 months. Divorce finalized today. No contact except emails through lawyers. And now she was visibly, undeniably pregnant. My first thought, raw, animal, unfiltered, was, is that mine? My second thought was worse. If it's not, whose is it? Lauren didn't look at me right away. She spoke quietly to her attorney, one hand resting protectively on her stomach like it was instinctive, like she'd done it 1,000 times already. That gesture hit harder than the pregnancy itself. She never touched her stomach like that when we were married. Never talked about kids like that. In fact,
before we begin, if you enjoy stories that touch the heart and remind us of life's quiet miracles, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It truly helps our little storytelling family grow.
You didn't want kids with me, but you're already halfway through one with someone else. That's not fair, she whispered. Not fair. My voice shook now. You told me kids weren't part of your future. You told me I was selfish for even asking. Frank leaned in. Dan, stop. This isn't helping. But I couldn't stop. Every argument we'd ever had rushed back at once. Every night, I'd imagine a house with a yard. Every time she rolled her eyes when I mentioned family. Every time she said, why do you need more? Isn't this enough? Enough. Apparently, it hadn't been. The judge cleared her throat. Mrs. Mitchell, I assume this pregnancy has no legal bearing on the divorce proceedings? Lauren nodded. No, Your Honor. And the father is not Mr. Mitchell. No. The judge scribbled something. Then we will proceed. Proceed. Like this was normal. Like this wasn't detonating my entire understanding of the last decade. As paperwork was reviewed, my thoughts spiraled. Had she cheated? No. Our separation had been clean. Painful, but clean. So she moved on faster than I ever could. That hurt almost more. When the judge asked if we had any final statements, Lauren surprised everyone. I do, she said. Frank stiffened. So did I? Lauren turned toward me, eyes glossy but steady. I know this is a shock, she said. And I'm sorry for the timing. I didn't plan for you to find out this way. Planned it pretty well, I muttered. She ignored that. What we had was real, she continued. But it was broken, and we were hurting each other by pretending otherwise. I wanted to scream that she was the one pretending. I hope, she said quietly, that one day you understand why I had to leave. Had to leave. I couldn't listen anymore. The judge finalized the divorce with a bang of her gavel that sounded way too loud in the room. Divorce granted. Just like that, I was no longer a husband. Lauren stood slowly, one hand on her stomach again. She hesitated, like she wanted to say something else. Then she walked out. I didn't follow. I sat there long after the courtroom emptied, staring at the table where her name had been printed in bold letters next to mine. Frank finally broke the silence. You okay? No, I said honestly. I walked out into the cold Ohio afternoon feeling hollowed out. But underneath the shock, underneath the rage, something else stirred. A question I couldn't shake. If the baby wasn't mine, why did this feel like unfinished business? The truth she hid after leaving me. I didn't go home after the hearing. Home didn't feel like mine anymore. Not the apartment I downsized into after Lauren moved out. Not the couch that still smelled faintly like her lavender detergent. Not the silence that pressed against my ears at night like punishment. Instead, I drove. No destination, just movement. Columbus blurred into highway exits and gas stations, the radio murmuring voices I didn't hear. Every few miles, my mind replayed the same image, Lauren's hand resting on her stomach. Protective, certain, like she'd stepped into a life she'd never wanted with me. I kept telling myself it shouldn't matter. We were divorced now. Her body, her choices. But logic doesn't mean much when your chest feels like it's caving in. By the time the sun dipped low and the sky turned that burnt orange Midwest color, I found myself parked outside a bar we used to go to, Miller's Tap. Brick walls, cheap beer, no judgment. I ordered bourbon. Then another. I wasn't drunk enough to forget, but I was loose enough to remember things I'd buried. Like the night Lauren left. She hadn't screamed. Hadn't cried much either. She sat at the kitchen table, hands folded, looking at me like she was delivering a diagnosis. I can't do this anymore, Dan. Do what? I'd asked. Be married. Be stuck, she said. In a life that doesn't fit me. I thought she meant the house. The routine. The expectations. I didn't realize she meant me. After 3 drinks, my phone buzzed. A text. Unknown number. Lauren, I know today was hard. I'm sorry. I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. Me. You could have warned me. The typing bubble appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Lauren. I didn't know how. That answer made something twist in my stomach. Me. Whose is it? Minutes passed. Long enough for anger to replace curiosity. Then my phone buzzed again. Lauren. His name is Mark. We met after I moved out. Of course his name was Mark. Normal. Forgettable. Safe. I almost put my phone away. But I typed one more thing. Me. Do you love him? This time, the pause was longer. I finished my drink. Ordered another. Finally. Lauren. I didn't think I could ever want this. But it happened. Not yes. Not no. I paid my tab and walked out before I could say something I couldn't take back. That night, sleep didn't come easy. Every time I closed my eyes, memories surfaced, small moments I dismissed back then. Lauren flinching when friends announced pregnancies. Lauren changing the subject when my sister talked about her kids. Lauren staring out windows like she was waiting for something else. Had she known all along that she didn't want my future? Or had something changed her after she left? 2 days later, Frank called. Dan, he said carefully. This is probably none of your business anymore, but something came up. My pulse jumped. What kind of something? There was a clerical issue. Lauren requested a copy of the finalized decree earlier than usual. She seemed anxious. So, he continued. She asked a question about medical benefits that don't apply unless there's prior involvement. I closed my eyes. Just say it. Frank exhaled. She asked whether any paternity claims could be retroactively challenged. The world seemed to tilt. What does that mean? I asked. It means, Frank said slowly, that there's a chance she's not as certain about the timeline as she told the judge. I hung up and sat there, my heart racing. The math started running in my head whether I wanted it to or not. We'd separated 11 months ago. Divorced officially last week. Pregnancy looked 6, 7 months. I grabbed my phone again. Me. Lauren. Be honest. When did you find out you were pregnant? No immediate reply. My chest tightened. Then, Lauren. Before the hearing. That wasn't what I'd asked. Me. How far along are you? Another pause. Longer this time. Lauren. About 7 months. I stood up so fast my chair tipped over. 7 months. That meant. No. It couldn't. Unless. I called her. She didn't answer. I called again. Voicemail. Lauren. I said when the beep hit. My voice hoarse. You need to call me back. Now. An hour passed. Then 2. Just as I was convincing myself I was losing my mind, my phone rang. Lauren. I didn't want you to find out like this, she said the moment I answered. Like what? I snapped. By accident. By math. She was quiet. Then, barely above a whisper, she said, I wasn't planning to tell you at all. My hands shook. Why? Because I was afraid you'd think it was yours. I laughed bitterly. Lauren, I do think that. She swallowed. I could hear it through the phone. There's a possibility, she admitted. A small one. A small one. That phrase detonated inside my chest. You told the judge it wasn't mine, I said. I told the judge what I believed, she replied. Mark and I, the timing overlaps. My legs gave out, and I sat on the edge of the bed. So let me get this straight, I said slowly. You might be carrying my child. You walked into our divorce hearing pregnant, and you thought the best plan was to say nothing. Tears cracked her voice. I didn't want to ruin your life. That was the moment anger finally drowned out shock. You don't get to decide that for me, I said. You don't get to erase me from something this big. I was scared, she said. I'd already started something with Mark. I didn't want to destroy that too. There it was. She'd chosen. And I was the loose thread she hoped wouldn't unravel the whole thing. Is Mark aware there's a chance it's not his? I asked. Silence. That told me everything. Lauren, I said, my voice cold now. You need to get a paternity test. Her breath hitched. Not until the baby's born. Then we wait, I said. But this isn't over. When the call ended, I stared at the wall for a long time. I'd walked into that courtroom thinking I was closing a chapter. Instead, I'd stepped into something far messier. Because now the question wasn't just whether Lauren had moved on. It was whether the future she was building might still be tied to me, whether I wanted it to be or not. And the scariest part? Somewhere beneath the chaos, beneath the betrayal, a dangerous thought whispered through my mind. If that child was mine, everything would change. The man who thought he was the father. I didn't go looking for Mark. Not at first. I told myself it wasn't my place, that barging into another man's life wouldn't fix anything. But lies have a way of rotting from the inside out, and the longer Lauren stayed silent, the heavier it all felt. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of sleepless nights, of checking my phone like a nervous tick, of wondering whether there was a child out there who might share my crooked smile or my stubborn streak. Then Lauren collapsed at work. That was how everything cracked open. I got the call from an unknown number while I was in a meeting. Is this Daniel Mitchell? A woman asked. Yes. This is Riverside Methodist Hospital. Your ex-wife, Lauren Mitchell, listed you as an emergency contact. My heart slammed against my ribs. What happened? She fainted. She's stable, but she's being monitored due to complications related to her pregnancy. I was already grabbing my keys. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and fear. Machines beeped in the background as I followed a nurse down a long corridor. When we reached her room, I saw Lauren lying in the bed, pale and 4 in her arm, and standing beside her, Mark. He was taller than me, younger, maybe early 30s, clean cut, wearing scrubs. A doctor, of course. His arm stiffened when he saw me. Who are you? He asked. Lauren's eyes fluttered open. When she saw me, her face drained of what little color she had left. Dan. Mark turned to her. You said your ex lived out of state. She squeezed her eyes shut. That told me everything. I'm her ex-husband, I said calmly. Too calmly. Daniel. Mark's jaw tightened. I'm Mark. Her fiancé. Fiancé. The word landed like a punch. Congratulations, I said, my voice flat. The doctor entered, cutting the tension. Ms. Mitchell experienced a drop in blood pressure. We're monitoring the baby closely. Stress is a major factor here. His eyes flicked between Mark and me. Only one of you should stay. Lauren looked at me then, really looked at me. And for a split second, I saw fear not for herself, but for the secret she'd buried. I'll step out, Mark said quickly. She needs calm. As he left, I turned to Lauren. Fiancé? I asked quietly. She nodded, tears spilling down her temples. He proposed 2 months ago, and he thinks the baby is his. She didn't answer. That was answer enough. Lauren, I said, leaning closer, this is bigger than your fear. Someone else's life is wrapped up in this now. I know, she sobbed. I thought I could handle it. I took a breath. Why did you really leave me? She stared at the ceiling, her voice barely audible. Because I was drowning, she said. And I didn't know how to tell you. Memories rushed back. Late nights at the office, me coming home exhausted, her already asleep. Two people sharing a house, living parallel lives. You never said that, I replied. I tried, she said. You were always planning the next thing. The next promotion. The next house. I felt like an accessory. That's not fair, I said. Neither is leaving without explaining, she whispered. The doctor returned with an update. The baby's heart rate stabilized. We'll keep her overnight. Relief washed through me, followed immediately by a deeper dread. Because now Mark would have questions, and I was done staying silent. I found him in the hallway, pacing. We need to talk, I said. He crossed his arms. About what? About the baby. His eyes hardened. It's mine. Maybe, I replied. Maybe not. The color drained from his face. What are you saying? I didn't enjoy this, but I wasn't going to sugarcoat it. There's a chance the child is mine, I said. Lauren knows it. You deserve to know it. His hands curled into fists. That's impossible. Check the dates, I said. Ask her. Silence stretched between us. Then he laughed. A short, disbelieving sound. You're trying to sabotage us. I'm trying to tell the truth. We stood there, two men connected by a child neither of us had met yet. Finally, he turned away. I'm talking to her. He went back into the room. I stayed in the hallway, staring at the floor, heart pounding. Minutes passed. Then raised voices. Then silence. Mark walked out, his face wrecked. She lied to me, he said flatly. I nodded. I need air, he muttered, and walked away. I went back in. Lauren looked broken. You told him? She asked. I did. She covered her face with her hands. Everything is falling apart. No, I said. It already did. We're just finally looking at the pieces. She looked at me through her fingers. What if it's yours? She asked, voice shaking. I didn't answer right away, because the truth scared me. If it is, I said finally, then we do this the right way. She nodded, tears streaming freely now. Outside, rain streaked down the hospital windows. I realized then that the wild reaction I'd had in court was nothing compared to what was coming. Because in a few months, a child would be born. And when the truth came out, someone's life would change forever. Maybe all of ours. The night the truth was born, the waiting is what nearly broke me. Not the anger, not the betrayal, the waiting. Every day after the hospital confrontation felt like time was moving through thick mud. Lauren stayed on modified bed rest. Mark moved out temporarily. Temporarily turned into silence. He stopped calling me, stopped answering Lauren's texts except about doctor appointments. And me? I lived in limbo, too connected to walk away, too disconnected to step in. We spoke only when necessary. Short calls, careful words. Like every sentence might detonate something fragile. The baby came early, 36 weeks. I was at work when my phone rang, Lauren's name lighting up the screen. I didn't even say hello. I'm in labor, she said, breathless and scared. I'm coming, I replied. I don't remember the drive to the hospital. I remember red lights that felt personal, slow elevators, the smell of antiseptic and panic. Lauren was already in a delivery room when I arrived, gripping the rails of the bed, hair plastered to her forehead. She looked smaller than I remembered, younger, terrified. Mark wasn't there. He's on his way, she said quickly, like she was afraid I'd ask. I nodded. Hours passed. Pain came in waves. So did memories. Her laugh on our honeymoon. The way she used to steal fries off my plate. The night she told me she didn't want kids and I pretended it didn't hurt. At some point, she grabbed my hand. Hard. Don't let go, she gasped. I didn't. When the baby finally cried, loud, furious, alive, everything else faded. A nurse announced, "It's a girl." Lauren sobbed openly. I felt something crack open in my chest that I hadn't known was sealed shut. They laid the baby on Lauren's chest, tiny and red and perfect, fists clenched like she was already fighting the world. I couldn't look away. She had dark hair, a strong chin. Too early to tell anything else. Mark arrived 20 minutes later, breathless, eyes wild. He stopped short when he saw me standing there. But he didn't say anything. Neither did I. This wasn't about us anymore. Lauren named her Emily. The three of us stood in the room afterward, an awkward triangle orbiting a newborn who had no idea how complicated her entrance had been. "We need to do the test," Mark said finally, his voice hollow. Lauren nodded. "I know." A nurse explained the process, non-invasive, quick, accurate. Cord blood sample. Results in a few days. A few days. Mark left first. Said he needed time. I stayed a little longer. Lauren looked at me, exhausted and raw. "I'm sorry," she said again. "I know," I replied. That was all I had left. The next 3 days were hell. Every buzz of my phone made my stomach drop. Every scenario played out in my head on repeat. If she wasn't mine, I'd grieve, walk away, rebuild. If she was, I didn't even know what that meant. On the 4th day, Lauren called. "They're in," she said quietly. "The results." "I'm coming." Mark was already there when I arrived. He didn't look angry anymore. Just empty. A nurse handed Lauren an envelope. Her hands shook so badly she couldn't open it. I did. I scanned the page once. Twice. Then the words finally sank in. Probability of paternity, 99.99%. The room went silent. Mark stared at me. "Say something," he said hoarsely. "I'm her father," I said. The words felt unreal. Heavy. Permanent. Lauren broke down, sobbing into her pillow. Mark stepped back like he'd been hit. "I loved her," he said quietly. "I loved both of them." "I know," I replied. He nodded once. "I can't do this." And just like that, he was gone. The door clicked shut. I looked at Lauren. At Emily, sleeping peacefully in her bassinet. Unaware she'd just shattered 3 lives and reshaped them into something unrecognizable. "I didn't plan this," Lauren said through tears. "I know," I said again. But knowing didn't erase what came next. Custody discussions. Lawyers. Awkward handoffs. Late-night feedings I wasn't prepared for. I held my daughter for the first time that night. She fit against my chest like she belonged there. Like she always had. And that scared me more than anything. Because I wasn't the man I'd planned to be yet. But life doesn't wait for plans. It just hands you a truth. And asks what you're going to do with it. The choice that changed everything. Emily cried at 2:47 a.m. I know the exact time because I was staring at the ceiling, already awake, wondering how my life had managed to fold in on itself and somehow expand at the same time. Lauren and I were no longer married. But we were parents. That sentence still felt unreal. The weeks after the DNA results were a blur of legal paperwork, pediatric appointments, and conversations that always ended in silence. We moved carefully around each other, like stepping through a room full of broken glass, aware that one wrong move could reopen old wounds. We agreed on shared custody. At first, it was formal, cold, scheduled down to the minute. But babies don't care about court orders. Emily didn't know I was supposed to feel like a visitor in her life. She just knew my voice, my heartbeat. The way I rocked her when nothing else worked. The first time she fell asleep on my chest, something inside me finally gave in. I stopped fighting the reality. I leaned into it. Lauren watched it happen slowly. The way my hand stopped shaking when I held Emily. The way I learned her cries. Hungry, tired, angry at the injustice of the world. The way I showed up. Every time. One evening, months later, Lauren said something I never expected. "You're a good father," she said quietly as we cleaned bottles in her kitchen. I nodded. "I'm trying." She hesitated. "I should have trusted you more." That was the closest we ever came to reopening the past. Mark never came back. He sent a message once, wishing Emily well, wishing Lauren clarity, wishing me strength. It wasn't cruel. It was just final. Time passed. Emily grew. She smiled. She laughed. She grabbed my finger like she was afraid I'd disappear. And somewhere along the way, the anger I'd been carrying finally loosened its grip. One night, after Emily's first birthday party, balloons, messy cake, awkward small talk, Lauren and I sat on the porch watching fireflies drift through the humid Ohio air. "She looks like you," Lauren said softly. "I see you in her too," I replied. We sat in silence. Then she asked the question I knew was coming. "Do you hate me?" I thought about it. About the courtroom. The shock. The wild reaction that had started it all. "No," I said honestly. I hated what happened. But not you. Tears slid down her face. I wish I'd been braver. So do I said. But wishing doesn't change the past. Only choices change the future. Lauren moved to a smaller place closer to mine. Not for us, but for Emily. We learned how to co-parent without resentment, how to communicate without reopening scars. And then, one night, Emily took her first steps. She wobbled toward me, arms out, determination written all over her tiny face. When she reached me, I caught her. In that moment, I understood something that had taken me years to learn. Life doesn't always give you what you ask for. Sometimes it gives you what you need. Wrapped in chaos, delivered through heartbreak, revealed only after you think you've lost everything. At my divorce hearing, my ex-wife walked in pregnant. My reaction was wild. But it wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of a better one.